Probably my biggest core value is hard work. I was raised on a farm. Most people don't know that. I was raised on a farm in northwestern Oklahoma, and that is nothing but hard work.
Yeah.
So, you wake up before school starts to break ice for cattle. You go to work as soon as you get home. You don't stop until the sun goes down. That has really carried through to my career. Like the day doesn't end until the work is done. And thankfully, my sister's my processor, and we were both raised on the farm. So we both work that way. And, she's worked for me on and off for 20 years. So, at the end of the day, it's hard work. That's my core value. There is never a point when hard work does not pay off.
Next level, come and take a ride to the future where brilliance and power collide. Get on up now.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. In today's rapidly evolving world of mortgage lending and real estate, few individuals embody forward thinking and dedication quite like Cara Hawkins. As a trailblazer in her field, Cara exemplifies the mission of our podcast to explore and highlight groundbreaking ideas and innovative practices. Her career is distinguished by her commitment to personalized loan solutions that challenge the conventional one-size-fits-all model. Her approach not only tailors solutions to individual needs, but also fosters real connection, reflecting a modern take on mortgage lending. With extensive knowledge of both conventional and governmental markets, Cara brings a sophisticated understanding to her work. This blend of expertise and innovation make her the ideal guest for a podcast that seeks to explore cutting-edge ideas and transformative practices. And it's with my great pleasure to have Cara Hawkins today on Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast.
Thank you.
It's so awesome, Cara. As a personal friend of yours, I get to see. I've watched you throughout the years and admired the energy that you emote out. Energy that you put out in your work ethic, and it's something that I felt like was really important to get to know and share with the rest of the world. And it's a privilege to sit down with you today and get to know you better through this experience.
Well, I appreciate it. I am a very high energy individual.
Yeah.
I always say I operate with a glass all the way full. It's never half full. It's always completely full. So I'm blowing and going all the time.
Let me make sure your mic's on real quick. Yep. Okay. Sorry. I had to make sure. Sorry. Okay. I'll get that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And that's true. Like that's what I see. Everything that you just said. When we get started, let's tell everybody about how you went from, got into mortgage lending, real estate, and that kind of stuff. I know you said some stuff off camera about some of your education and stuff. What you can share that with us too.
So it's actually kind of a funny story. I had just finished my master's degree, and it was right after 9/11, literally. So 2001, and there was no jobs to be had at that time. The economy was suffering slightly after 9/11. And the only jobs that were out there were straight commission jobs. You were either going to be a financial planner or you were going to be a mortgage broker. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was just hungry enough and probably a little bit arrogant enough to think that at 22, 23 years old that I could work on a straight commission. So I had some friends that were in mortgage lending at that time, and one of them I ended up marrying. But I was like, if he can do this, I can do this. So I got a job with a mortgage broker in Oklahoma City, and I was basically teaching myself how to do loans. He had been in the business a long time. He was an older gentleman, so he was in and out a lot. So, his clients would call, and I would be the only one there to answer. And, I was out beating the streets for business because that straight commission position was not quite as easy as what I thought it would be. And at that point in the market, it was mainly refinances, right? Purchase lending was, obviously there's always been purchases in the market, but most of the time those clients would shop with a bank or their banker relationship, especially in Oklahoma, where that relationship is just the key to everything. So we were doing a lot of refinances, and then that's basically all she wrote. That was 23 years ago. So wow. I've actually been doing this ever since. I did go to law school as well, but never had I had the desire, I was never able to break away from lending. It's always been a passion of mine, and now late in my career, I know that it's a calling, and something that I've definitely been called to do. So that's a little bit of history.
That's awesome. So you went to law school, and it's such a huge. What kind of law were you?
Well, initially I went to law school thinking I was going to focus on nonprofit. I had been working at a domestic violence shelter, just volunteering there, and I saw that those women there had zero voice, just no representation at all. Most of them were in a very cyclical, abusive relationships, couldn't get divorced. It was a bad situation all the way around. So I thought maybe nonprofit. But while I was in law school, I actually ended up focusing on criminal law. Kind of changed trajectory there, but the bottom line for me was that I was doing real estate the entire time. I was doing lending and going to school at the same time, and it was just something I couldn't get away from. So I didn't even take the bar, so don't hear me when I say that. I was not an attorney. But I was just, lending's always been what I've been great at, and I just, you stick with what you're good at.
Yeah.
Well, some people should.
yeah. So I think I was talking to somebody, my friend Jay, maybe he said something like, some people have a calling to sing, and he goes, well, let me tell you, they have the wrong calling. They have the wrong calling.
I hear this unfortunately too many times, so I understand that.
Is it fair to say that your work is deeply rooted in a personalized client experience?
Yeah. Every single loan, regardless of the situation, is client specific. So, just because you may have the same credit score as someone, or the same down payment as someone, or the same type of loan, everyone's situation is vastly different. So, literally, if there's any industry where it is client specific, banking and lending is certainly one.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why is it so? I know everyone's situation is different.
Their finances are different.
Yeah.
Just because someone who works in a cubicle next to you got a loan at these certain parameters, that doesn't mean that their savings is the same. That doesn't mean their credit history is the same. There's very, very, very different financial situations on every single loan. Maybe they haven't had the job for as long as you have, or maybe they have cash instead of money in the bank.
Yeah.
There's lots of different caveats to every loan. So, every loan is a start from scratch, personalized, production.
When you think of about success in your client relationships, what key factors come into play, and how do you ensure these relationships remain strong after the initial transaction?
So, with a lot of clients, they can go to anyone and get a loan. Then on the other side of the coin, there's clients who I know for a fact if they hadn't used me, they wouldn't have gotten a loan. But the thing that remains the same is that the service is the same. The high level of service is the same regardless, as if they could have gone to anyone on the street corner and found a loan, or they needed their hand held throughout the process. So for me, we're out in the market. Interest rates are going to be comparable no matter who you use. Fees are this and that. The loan programs don't change, right? Government guidelines, conventional guidelines, those are the same, but the client interaction and the client experience does not change from client to client, and that's how we keep it consistent and keep the clients coming back, because of the actual experience that they're having with our team.
Yeah, and you're with Town
Square.
Town Square mortgage lender?
Right.
Yeah. And 3 words that you would say describe today's mortgage lending experience, and can you elaborate on each one of them?
So technology is huge. That was, something that I was really digging a little bit deeper on. That's something we can't ignore. Obviously, after 23 years, the technological experience that you get during a loan has changed vastly.
Yeah.
When I started in the business, we were taking hand applications on carbon paper. Some people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
One copy went into their file, one copy went to the underwriter, one copy went to the processor. We're taking things by hand. And now, there's companies really trying to make the entire experience digital, right? So that's one thing. Technology is something that's big, that I think is a real driving force between lending right now. Relationships is the number one thing, though.
Yeah.
Whether that is relationship between the lender and the realtor, or the client and the lender, or my relationship with my underwriter, because those things all come into play, right? My relationship with my staff, and making sure that the level of service that I provide carries on through the entirety of their loan process, through my processor, through my closers, through my underwriters. So that relationship is not just the forward-facing customer, it's the entire process to make sure that everyone's level of service is relationship-driven and not just number-driven, right? The other thing to me, just in my business personally, would be service. Because like I said, there's 1,000,001 lenders out there, there's 1,000,001 banks out there, and there's different ways of doing business, but operating at the highest level of service, I think, is, probably one of the most important things.
I see a lot of real estate agents that get in it for the money. How does that work out?
They don't know this is one of the hardest industries you can be in. I have seen that.
Yeah.
And I see it with myself, because people see the end result.
Yeah.
And they don't see the work that was put in. They don't see the years that you were struggling. And oh my gosh, I could cry thinking about it, because it's been, the career has been like this. But people see the end result. They see the Porsche, and they see the nice house, and they see the clothes and the jewelry and all the things, but they don't see what goes into the day-to-day. And I'm telling you, this industry is so difficult.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
Yeah. One of the things that was one of the things that I admired about you the most, is you're reaping the rewards of your hard work.
Right.
And people, that was so important for us to sit down. I want to sit down with you just for this very reason, is to get to see what that's about,
Yeah.
see where that comes from, and seeing you, talk
Don't
about
get
it.
me crying.
No, I won't get you crying. This is Roy Firestone, and you're.
Well, I was like, don't get me going. But it has been, there were years of struggle. There were years of, us being able to feed the baby and not feed ourselves. We had one car. There was a lot of time that happened, but thankfully we're past that now.
Yeah.
But, people only see the 20 years later, or the 5 years later, the end result. They just don't see what it took to get here.
That's amusing. Hallelujah. How about that?
Thank goodness.
Seriously, yeah.
And thank God for the Texas real estate market. It's so amazing. It's been such a good career.
Awesome. Were you a real estate agent at another, or were you in real estate in another
Yeah,
state,
I was
or
in
in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah.
I spent a year in Oklahoma lending, and then I moved to Dallas in 2003.
Okay.
So I've been lending here ever since.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do you stay grounded and focus on your core values amidst the complexities and challenges of the mortgage industry?
So probably my biggest core value is hard work. I was raised on a farm. Most people don't know that. I was raised on a farm in northwestern Oklahoma, and that is nothing but hard work.
Yeah.
So, you wake up before school starts to break ice for cattle. You go to work as soon as you get home. You don't stop until the sun goes down. That has really carried through to my career. Like the day doesn't end until the work is done. And thankfully, my sister's my processor, and we were both raised on the farm. So we both work that way. And, she's worked for me on and off for 20 years. So, at the end of the day, it's hard work. That's my core value. There is never a point when hard work does not pay off. There's never a point. I can't see any situation, whether it's at the gym or any situation, where when you've worked really hard, that there isn't some benefit. Maybe it's not monetary, but there is not some benefit to your hard work.
Yeah.
So, with loans, maybe we bust our tails for a client, and maybe they go with someone else. Maybe we've helped them repair their credit and put them on a financial plan to save enough money for down payment, or maybe we've worked really hard to get them qualified for a loan, and they may go with someone else. They may go with a new construction home where they have their own in-house lender. We still establish that relationship, and we still put our best foot forward for that client, and that client knows that.
Yeah.
Right? So, maybe the best financial decision for their family was to not use us, and that's okay. But we learned something throughout the process. We created the relationship with that client. So really, at the end of the day, for me, hard work is the bottom line in all that we do.
Are you a believer on the 10,000 hour rule, where you devote 10,000 hours to something, you become proficient in it?
Probably for lending, it's way more than that.
Okay.
Because with the guidelines changing, the laws changing, people's financial situations changing, the market changing, I am constantly learning something every single day.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably more, I would definitely consider myself an expert. You could probably come to me with absolutely any situation, I can figure it out. But I think it's probably more than 10,000 hours.
Wow.
Maybe 10,000 loans.
10,000 loans, okay. In your view, what role does compassion play in your work, and has this understanding changed the way you look at success and fulfillment?
Compassion and empathy are probably two of the strongest traits that you can have as a lender, in my opinion. I was just talking about this in a class this morning. People have been through very hard times in the last few years, or at some point in their life. Most everyone has a situation that they've had to contend with financially, right?
Yeah.
So having that empathy and that compassion for how we got here, but also, being able to see that we're going to move forward from this is very key. Because not everyone has a cookie cutter loan. Not everyone has good credit. Not everyone has money in the bank. Not everyone is happily married. There's lots of divorce situations out there. We have to be compassionate and understanding for all of those situations, because quite frankly, those are the biggest piece of our business, right? Those people that can go anywhere to get a loan, they're probably going there, and it may not be us, right? So just listening and understanding that not everyone's the same and not everyone's like us, right? And they haven't handled their life like we would or how we should. But it's our job to get them past that point, right? And I think compassion and empathy is the exact way to do that.
Wow, that's an amazing answer. What do you hope when you have a client, if whether they stay with you or go somewhere else, what do you hope they leave with?
That Cara wanted what was best for my family.
Yeah.
Cara wanted what was best for me financially, and that's why we let some clients go.
Yeah.
If it's a better deal for them to use someone else, we'll let them go. We'll tell them it's a better deal. I review fee sheets from other lenders all day long, and I'll tell you, I'm beat. Or, you may want to ask them this question because they haven't disclosed this. So, my job this is a long-term. This is a long-term career.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. So, they may come back. I have a client right this very second that did not use me when he purchased his home, but he's using me for his refinance because of the experience he had when we were qualifying him for his purchase. Wow. He wished he would have used us. So, and that's okay. Sometimes they have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But, it's a long-term game for us. I mean, obviously 20 plus years later, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon because I got college to pay for coming up. But, it's just always about the relationship with the client.
Yeah, that's a great what you're sharing about. It's always a relationship with the client and what they want to leave with. Is that that they remember you.
She wanted what's best for me.
What's best for you. I think that's as
Absolutely.
simple as you could make it. Technology, you mentioned technology, and we know that technology plays a big role in modern mortgage lending. How do you see it enhancing the personalized service you provide, and what changes have you seen firsthand?
So I don't want to say that I've been resistant to technology, but I always want to provide the hands-on service. Now, there are enhancements that can be and have been made to technology that do make the process easier for the client that I've welcomed with open arms. As I was stating when I started, the clients had to bring their documents to me, and I had to make copies of those documents and provide them to the correct parties. Now, with enhancements in, technology, we're able to get those documents right from their phones where they, we never have to meet them. Which I don't enjoy because I really, really enjoy meeting people. But those things make it easier for the client. The entire transaction can be handled online. You could handle it from the comfort of your pajama-ridden living room. We learned that during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So, from that perspective, technology is fantastic, and it has made the process easier on everyone. But there is no substitution for a personal touch. And, those companies out there who are trying to make it 100% faceless, nameless, hands off, I don't think it works.
Yeah.
The experience the client has is not the same as if you're dealing with a real person that, I had someone call me the other night at 7 p.m. and I was making dinner. I still answered my phone because that's what I do, but the client was thrilled that they were talking to a real mom that was making dinner for her children. So maybe that's not the most professional response, but I wasn't going to let them go an evening without me answering my phone.
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to fit it all in. I think technology helps us do that, but there's just no substitution for that hands-on.
Yeah, I can imagine if you don't have that personalized service, and then you have to get online and get on one of those chat things, and it's a bot that's talking to you, and it says,
Well, what happens when your credit's bad, or
Yeah.
those people will get declined immediately,
Yeah.
right? You just put your information into a computer, the computer says no. Well, that's a no for them. Maybe they stay renting, maybe they don't end up purchasing a home.
Yeah.
When truly, if someone had taken a look at their credit report and could help them, establish what remedy could be made, that in turn impacts their entire life, right? Even if they never close on a loan, how important is good credit? It's
Yeah.
important to insurance and credit card rates, which in turn impacts like your rental rates. And I mean, it impacts so many things, and you don't get that with a computer and putting your information into a computer.
Yeah.
For some people that works, right?
Yeah.
Stellar credit, lots of money in the bank, W-2 jobs, but that vast majority, that's not the client situation.
Yeah.
So it has to take that hands-on approach because, we do need more homeowners out there.
Yeah.
That pride in homeownership is huge, and it impacts, people's entire families.
I was going to ask you, you're a branch manager at Town Square Home, mortgage lending, right? Talk to me about your staff. What is like?
That'll get me crying too. I love them so much. They're a family.
Yeah, talk to me about them and what when you go to work, because you got, one of the things too is, looking at your career and watching you, work hard, and you can see it. It emotes from you, but you also have to ask well, what's going on? Talk to me about your
I
staff.
can't do this by myself, I'll assure you.
Yeah.
I really genuinely have the best staff. There is no one on my staff that would ever utter the words, "It's not my job." And we spend all day, every day, literally from the time we wake up in the morning, sometimes it's 4 or 5 a.m., till we go to bed at night, talking and brainstorming and collectively helping each other get the client to the finish line. And that goes from the loan officer assistant all the way to the processor, closer, loan officer, and me. So everyone is jumping in, helping on any part of the transaction that they can. Everyone works 24/7 because we all need that work-life balance. So I'm here to pick up the slack when you can't. I'm here to pick up the slack when your son's at football. Someone else is here to pick up my slack when I'm in Colorado Springs when my son's playing football.
Yeah.
So we all have that that very much team fostering environment, and I could not do it without my team. I have the best team out there, and I'm telling you, none of these loans would happen without them. Nothing. I can bring them to the door, but they would not get closed without my team.
Wow, that's amazing. Like I think the most important element of what you said is that no one says it's not my job, which is
Absolutely not.
In some of these work cultures, that's exactly what happens, right?
No.
Now, transitioning from that, how has your career shaped or reshaped your personal beliefs about leadership and responsibility, and what insights have you gained through your professional journey?
So leadership to me is at the forefront of really everything I do because, a leadership role is needed when I'm, counseling with a client. They need to know that I am leading this transaction, right? That I am at the forefront of what we're doing, and I'm going to take them through the process, right? And the same goes with my team. I mean, they all have their specific responsibilities, but at the end of the day, it's my job to make sure that, everyone's role is accomplished with a high level of service, and I have to lead the team into those, positions.
Yeah.
So leadership transitions to every part of your life, right? You lead your family. You even in a friendship, right? You want to be leading your friends to do better and be better. that's the way I feel. I want the best for everyone in my life. So I feel like I need to lead by example.
Yeah.
Set the best example. And that's the same, with my team, my clients, my friends, my children. I just feel like leadership, it impacts every facet of your life.
Yeah, you're right. You made me do a level check. Is how many friends are you leading?
Yeah, I'm not saying I need to be in control, but
Yeah,
leading doesn't have anything to do with control.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, it's an embodiment of a behavior, and it's an example.
Yeah.
Right? So hopefully you're surrounding yourself with those kind of friends.
Yeah, absolutely. What practices or habits do you follow to maintain a sense of purpose and alignment with your core values in both your professional and personal life?
I know this is so cliche, but treating people how you would want to be treated is, at the forefront of everything we do. And, how I would want someone to handle me and my family and our finances is how we want to treat everyone.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that that carries down to, like I said, even the smallest member of our team and every aspect of the transaction, because, in real estate, there's title company, there's appraisers, there's insurance agents, there's realtors, there's attorneys, there's underwriters. There's at any point there's about 20 hands in the transaction.
Wow.
So, making sure everyone operates at that same level of treating me or treating you how I would want to be treated, that cliche or not, that's how it should work.
No, I think it's so cool because it really is like, it's that KISS mentality, right?
Yeah.
Keep it simple, silly. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yes.
kidding. Yeah.
It's pretty simple,
It is pretty
but
simple, but
it's
effective.
profound.
Yeah, we sometimes struggle with that, right? Is understanding. We complicate things that don't need to be complicated, or
Right.
treat others people as you would like to be treated. For newcomers in mortgage lending, what advice would you give to help them create meaningful client-focused relationships?
You
And
better be
what's-
ready to work.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say, because this is not an 8 to 5 job. It is not a position where things just fall in your lap. You better be ready to work for it. So I think this is one of the best careers you can have.
Yeah.
When I talk at high schools, and I did a study with Princeton University this summer, just talking about, I'm not highly successful, but highly successful people, and what traits are embodied within them to put them in the position that they're in. And this is like heart surgeons and high-producing mortgage lenders and, attorneys and everyone out there that is highly successful in their careers. And I think that hard work
Yeah.
is at the bottom line.
Yeah.
Because, everything falls behind that, right? But sometimes I see it out there where they think that success is just going to fall in their lap, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
You've got to get creative these days with social media and, constantly be evolving in what you're doing and learning and, just being open-minded to the business and new ways of doing business. So, you better be ready to work for it.
Yeah. And
It's a 7-day-a-week job.
that's that's what I hear. I'll ask you this is the last question, and we'll wrap up. What's the most rewarding thing about your career that you've gained from?
There's so many.
Yeah.
My children, and being able to be flexible enough to have it all. And what I mean by that is that been able to provide the life that I want to provide for them, while also having the time
Yeah.
with them. Because, yes, it is a lot of work, it's a lot of hours, but with that hard work comes the flexibility to be able to work remotely and be able to still be present, with my kids, and, while providing that lifestyle and, letting my kids, look up to their mom. That's been very rewarding.
That's awesome. That's going to make me cry. Why are you going to try to make me cry on my own podcast? You'll be the second person who's doing that. That's a good answer right there, honestly, because looking up to mothers is a really...
I want to be someone that my kids are proud of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, what was my last question? I think you threw me off. I got emotional there for a second. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, where can they get a hold of you if they're looking for a loan or mortgage lending?
So my website's just my name. It's
Yeah.
carahawkins.com. cell phone is good. I'm out there on Town Square Mortgage, their website. So anyway, I have my phone in my hand.
Okay, so here's the thing too. I would consider you a fashionista of
Oh
sorts.
gosh,
So,
I got to close loans so I can buy clothes.
there you go. Clothes, loads for clothes.
Yep.
Clothes for clothes. That's funny. But now people are going to expect you to see, have to see a picture of you as a farm girl. So will you be posting a
gosh.
picture of you as a farm girl in the
Well,
next coming days?
probably not, but it's true. It's super funny because I learned to drive when I was 7 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a standard.
Drive what? Oh,
A
it's standard? Wow.
Yeah, so I would follow my dad around in the tractor and the wheat truck and
Wow.
from field to field. And
That's
I
amazing.
wrecked into a grain bin when I was 7 years old. So we need my mom to tell that story at some point. But yeah, I've been driving for a while.
No, if you would have told me you ran into cattle, then I would have been a
No,
different.
I backed into a grain bin in my dad's brand new pickup and ripped the entire side off.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Okay, well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you and talk to you on Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. It's so good to get an understanding of who Cara Hawkins is from inside out and how you think, and we can. It definitely emotes that you're dedicated to your job, and I really respect and admire you for that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's it for Next Level Thinkers, a Charting New Horizons of Brilliance podcast. As I always say, have peace in line. You remember that the ocean refuses no river.
Next level, come and take a ride to the future where brilliance and power collide. Get on up now.